After September 11th, the United States launched the Global War on Terror, which involved extensive military engagements abroad, most notably in Afghanistan and Iraq. These initiatives had significant political and social repercussions, but they also carried profound economic implications, including increased government spending and a growing national debt. This fiscal expansion, combined with aggressive monetary easing policies to stimulate the economy, eventually raised concerns about the sustainability of the dollar's value and its role as the world's reserve currency. The U.S. also expanded its use of economic sanctions as a foreign policy tool, leveraging its control over the global financial system to enforce these sanctions. The ability to influence international financial transactions through dollar-based systems, such as SWIFT, the Global Financial Messaging Service, highlighted the extent of U.S. dominance. However, it also sparked concerns among some countries about the risks of over-reliance on a currency controlled by another nation. The early 2000s saw the rapid rise of emerging economies, particularly the BRICS nations, which began to challenge the unipolar economic order dominated by the West. As these nations gained economic stature, they sought greater influence in international financial institutions, traditionally dominated by the U.S. and Europe. Part of their efforts included increasing the use of their own currencies in international trade and reserves. The 2007 to 2008 financial crisis further exposed vulnerabilities in the global financial system, which was heavily reliant on the U.S. dollar. The crisis led to a reevaluation of the risks associated with holding U.S. assets and the dollar itself. In its aftermath, discussions about the need for a new international reserve currency gained momentum among global leaders and economists, citing the need for a more stable, less U.S.-centric system. In response to these developments, many countries are now seeking to reduce their reliance on the U.S. dollar to mitigate the risks of economic sanctions and political pressure from the United States. This is particularly true for nations like Russia and China, which have faced U.S. sanctions and are looking to strengthen their financial independence and stability by promoting alternative currencies in international trade. By shifting away from the dollar, countries aim to diversify their international reserve assets and create a more balanced and potentially stable financial system. This diversification is seen as a safeguard against currency and economic fluctuations that can result from overdependence on a single foreign currency for trade and reserves. The rise of non-U.S. economic blocs and the increasing economic strength of countries like China and India are also fueling the push toward de-dollarization. These nations are seeking to assert their economic influence on the global stage, which includes promoting their own currencies as viable alternatives to the dollar in international trade. In a recent move, Russia, through BRICS, is advocating for a revised international payment mechanism among BRICS nations that seeks to bypass traditional global financial infrastructure. This initiative comes as Russia aims to fortify its economy against ongoing sanctions. The strategy involves creating a network of local commercial banks capable of handling transactions in their respective currencies and establishing direct connections between central banks. According to a report by the Russian Finance Ministry, the Bank of Russia, and the consulting firm Yakov and Partners, the proposed multi-currency system is designed to shield its users from external influences, such as unilateral sanctions, noting that the goals of the U.S. do not always align with those of other global financial network members. Part of this initiative includes setting up trading hubs for key commodities like oil, natural gas, grains, and gold. Quick pause. Could you do us a favor? If you're enjoying our content, please hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments. Your engagement helps us grow. Thank you. After Putin initiated military actions in Ukraine in February 2022, the U.S. and its allies imposed sweeping sanctions on Russia, freezing its foreign assets and disconnecting key Russian banks from the SWIFT financial messaging service. In response, Russia has been working to reduce its reliance on the U.S. dollar. As of 2022, the dollar accounts for 58% of international payments outside the Eurozone and 54% of foreign trade invoices, according to data from the Brookings Institution. Putin is set to host global leaders at the annual BRICS summit in Kazan from October 22nd to 24th. The BRICS group, which includes Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, expanded earlier this year to welcome new members: Iran, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Ethiopia, and Egypt. Russia is now advocating for the use of distributed ledger technology, DLT, as part of a broader strategy to create a new multinational platform for token-based settlements within the BRICS alliance. Let me explain DLT in simple terms. Distributed ledger technology is a digital system for recording asset transactions where the details are stored in multiple places simultaneously. Unlike traditional databases, DLT doesn't have a central data store or governing authority. Think of a ledger or record book. In a traditional system, there's a single copy of the ledger kept in one location, like a bank. If anyone needs to check or update the ledger, they must go through the central authority that manages it. With a distributed ledger, however, there are multiple copies of the record spread across different locations or nodes. Anyone with the right permissions can access the ledger directly without needing a central authority. Each node updates the ledger independently, and changes are reflected across all copies in real time. Russia's move within BRICS aims to create an alternative to the dominant, dollar-based global financial system, helping the country manage and mitigate the impact of international sanctions, particularly those imposed after its actions in Ukraine. The proposed system would utilize distributed ledger technology, DLT, to facilitate efficient, secure, and resilient cross-border payments, bypassing traditional banking intermediaries and reducing transaction costs and processing times. This could be especially advantageous for BRICS nations, potentially saving billions annually in transaction fees if widely adopted. The technology promises enhanced privacy and security by distributing transaction records across multiple nodes, avoiding a single point of failure in decision-making, a critical advantage in the face of geopolitical pressures. Russia's largest bank, Sberbank, has been actively involved in developing and promoting blockchain technology, which underpins DLT, for its potential to revolutionize payment systems, making them more efficient and less reliant on traditional financial infrastructures like SWIFT, from which Russian entities were excluded following sanctions. This initiative is part of a broader trend, with various countries and financial institutions exploring blockchain and DLT for financial transactions. For example, the Project M-Bridge, involving central banks and monetary authorities from different countries, aims to develop a multi-central bank digital currency, CBDC platform to enable instant cross-border payments and settlements. A key benefit of the DLT-based settlement system, as highlighted in the report, is the elimination of credit risk typically associated with traditional banking frameworks. Additionally, DLT is expected to reduce transaction times and costs, potentially saving BRICS nations up to $15 billion annually if half of all cross-border transactions adopt this method. By embracing DLT, BRICS countries could sidestep the delays and costs tied to traditional correspondent banking and compliance verifications. De-dollarization among BRICS has reached new heights over the past 2 years, with a notable shift in trade practices between Russia, China, and India, particularly through the increased use of local currencies in bilateral trade. This trend reflects a broader move within BRICS toward reducing reliance on the US dollar. In 2023, trade between Russia and China reached approximately $240 billion, with an impressive 95% of these transactions conducted in local currencies, primarily the yuan and ruble. This shift has been largely driven by the economic sanctions imposed on Russia, which have pushed the country to reduce its dependence on the dollar and strengthen economic ties with China. Similarly, trade between Russia and India hit a record high of around $65 billion in 2023, a substantial increase from previous years. This surge is partly due to increased imports of Russian crude oil, which spiked following geopolitical tensions and sanctions related to the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Notably, around $40 billion of this trade was settled in local currencies, highlighting the growing trend toward de-dollarization within BRICS. The de-dollarization trend is not confined to BRICS, but has expanded to other regions as well. In Southeast Asia, particularly among ASEAN member countries, the shift away from the US dollar is becoming more pronounced. These nations are actively pursuing strategies to reduce their dependence on the dollar for regional trade as part of a broader effort to enhance economic stability and foster closer integration. ASEAN is developing a cross-border digital payment platform specifically designed to facilitate transactions using local currencies, which aims to streamline trade and reduce reliance on major global currencies, such as the US dollar, euro, yen, and British pound. Countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, the Philippines, and Thailand have agreed to promote the use of their national currencies in bilateral and regional trade by establishing frameworks that support direct currency exchanges, eliminating the need to convert into a third-party currency like the US dollar. To support these efforts, Indonesia's central bank plans to establish a local payment system. President Joko Widodo has also been advocating for the use of credit cards issued by local banks instead of relying on foreign payment systems, aiming to shield the country from geopolitical disruptions like those experienced by Russia due to sanctions. This national policy underscores the importance of building strong local financial infrastructures to boost economic autonomy. In another significant regional development, Malaysia's Prime Minister has discussed with Chinese leadership the possibility of establishing an Asian Monetary Fund. This proposed fund would counterbalance the U.S.-dominated International Monetary Fund, IMF, and support financial transactions and assistance within the region using local currencies. Thank you for watching this video. We sincerely appreciate you joining us today. If our content resonated with you or sparked inspiration, please show your support by liking the video and subscribing to stay connected with our community. Your support means the world to us. Feel free to check out another video on our channel, which is now on the screen. Again, thank you.